Hey everyone, I'm Freddie Rowland, and it's time for the latest episode of the PreCap, where we cover the upcoming major video game and film releases for this month. Let's jump right into February's lineup. Starting with the movies, on February 3rd, the supernatural psychological horror film, Rings, will release. Rings will be the third film in the franchise following the original film, The Ring, and its sequel, The Ring 2. Also releasing that day is the romantic science fiction film, The Space Between Us, in which a boy living on Mars falls in love with a girl on Earth, but upon arriving to meet her, discovers his organs will not survive the planet's atmosphere. On February 10th, 3 different sequels are releasing, one of which is the erotic, romantic drama film 50 Shades Darker. Following the events of 50 Shades of Grey, Anastasia Anna Steele tries to move on from her relationship with Christian Grey, but his dark past comes back to haunt them. The action thriller film John Wick 2 follows the continued adventures of legendary hitman John Wick, as he is forced back out of retirement by a former associate plotting to seize control of a shadowy international assassins guild. Finally, the computer-animated action-comedy superhero film, The Lego Batman Movie, is also releasing to theaters. Batman goes on a personal journey to find himself and learn the importance of teamwork and friendship in the hopes of saving Gotham City from a hostile takeover set up by the Joker. On February 17th, 3 films make their theatrical debut, including the psychological horror thriller film, A Cure for Wellness. In it, an ambitious young executive is sent to retrieve his company's CEO from a mysterious wellness center in a remote location. When he begins to unravel its terrifying secrets, his sanity is tested, as he finds himself diagnosed with the same curious illness that keeps all of the guests there longing for the cure. Also premiering is the comedy film Fist Fight. After high school teacher Andy Campbell accidentally gets his colleague Ron Strickland fired, Strickland challenges him to an after-school fight. Another release, The Great Wall, is a historical fiction action-adventure monster film starring Matt Damon. In this alternate telling of history, the Great Wall is built to keep out monstrous lizards, and European mercenaries join the fight to protect the world from evil. On February 24th, the animated comedy film Rock Dog will be released in the United States. The film follows a young Tibetan mastiff who leaves the village in the mountains to become a rock musician in the big city when a radio falls from the sky. Last on our list for movies, the American horror film Get Out also releases on the 24th. A young black man visits his white girlfriend's diverse family estate only to learn that many of its black residents have gone missing, and the horrible truth begins to unfold when another frantic African American warns him to get out. That wraps up the major cinematic premieres for this month. Now let's move on to the video game releases. On February 3rd, the side-scrolling platformer video game Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World releases for the Wii U and 3DS. The game is the 7th main entry in the Yoshi series of games, and the first home console title in the series since 1997's Yoshi Story. On February 9th, the action role-playing game Neo will release exclusively on the PlayStation 4. Taking place in a fictional version of the 1600s, it features gameplay inspired by the Dark Souls series. The game revolves around navigating levels and defeating monsters that have infested an area. On February 14th, the online action hack-and-slash video game For Honor releases on the PS4, Xbox One, and Windows platforms. The game features a hand-to-hand combat system described as the art of battle by the developers and allows players to play the roles of historical soldiers such as medieval knights, samurai, and Vikings within a medieval fantasy setting. Additionally, third-person tactical shooter stealth video game Sniper Elite 4 is also releasing on the 14th for the PS4, Xbox One, and Windows platforms. The game is set in Italy in 1943 in the immediate aftermath of the events in Sniper Elite 3. Players control Carl Fairburn, an OSS agent who is tasked to fight against the fascists in World War II. On February 21st, the real-time strategy game Halo Wars 2 releases for the Xbox One and Windows platforms. Serving as a sequel to the original Halo Wars, the game sees the return of the human crew aboard the UNSC warship, Spirit of Fire, and introduces a new alien faction known as the Banished. Also releasing is the hack-and-slash game Berserk and the Band of the Hawk for the PS3, PS4, PS Vita, and Windows platforms. It mixes the hack-and-slash gameplay of the Dynasty Warriors series with the setting and characters of the Berserk manga series. On February 24th, the LEGO-inspired sandbox game, LEGO Worlds, releases for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The game allows players to build constructions in a 3D procedurally generated world, similar to Minecraft. On February 28th, the action role-playing game Horizon Zero Dawn releases exclusively on the PlayStation 4. The plot revolves around Aloy, a hunter and archer who lives in a world overrun by robots. Having been cloistered her whole life, she sets out to discover the dangers that kept her sheltered for so long. Finally, the role-playing video game Torment: Tides of Numenera also releases on the 28th for Windows, OS X, Linux, Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. The game will take place in Numenera, a fantasy campaign setting. Like its predecessor, Torment TON will primarily be story-driven, placing greater emphasis on interaction with the world and characters as opposed to combat and item accumulation, which takes on a secondary role. That's everything releasing in February. Be sure to check back with us next month for the March releases right here on the PreCap.